Dearest gentle listeners, you are listening to the Ladies Bridgerton, the talk of the town. We are your effervescent hosts, your neighbourhood-friendly Kiwi Tash from Middle Earth, New Zealand.
And Patty, Regency romance enthusiast, currently writing her Phoenix Rising era.
Settle down onto your favourite city as we delve into the lives of the elite and illustrious ladies, lords and royalty of the ton. This Bridgerton podcast is two friends talking romance, symbolism, Easter eggs, and, like Queen Charlotte bursting into this room, deep diving into the connections of our favourite characters. We cover both book, TV series and notable social media and therefore will contain spoilers.
Dearest listeners, we are finalizing episode 7, The Joining of Hands, with this analysis. We are all set to soapbox how this scene undoes all of the empathy Shonda and Tom Verica instilled in us for the Queen and Queen Charlotte, as well as who knows Penn is in fact Whistledown. We will also finish up with the most healthy disagreement from any of our lead couples. We feel Penn's frustration at losing her wedding night, and Colin's, for that matter, for impulsively removing it from possibility. Let's say goodbye to episode 7 together. The Polin Punishment Support Group is now in session.
Emotional damage!
Emotional damage, for sure.
Let's talk pod snackylacks first.
Yep, I'm trying to scroll because Sarah sent me some and I can't seem to find it. Darn it. I should have written it down. Now there's a whole bunch of talk in there. Darn us, Tangent Squad, we're too chatty. So, my pod snacks this week are sponsored by me and you. I made a bean and rice dip of sorts, just some cheese, these canned black beans that are like ancho chili flavor, like they had a flavor to them, kind of smoky. It was pretty good. And Cajun rice, and I am dipping my Tostitos hint of lime in them. That is my serving utensil. And then, of course, 9 million drinks.
And Tosh has flavoured water.
Okay. Now,
what's the tea, Valley?
On to some Bridgerton news. We are going to say there is now an official show that we can include in our Bridgerton drought. For anyone who has not watched Murders in the Building, only Murders in the Building, you're going to have some catching up to do. It's a show it's been on my radar, like on my to-be watch list, but I haven't ever watched it. Although I love Steve Martin and Martin Short, so it is definitely on my list. And I kind of mentioned last week about how Simone Ashley was cast for season 6, but now Nicola Coughlan also is cast for season 6. So we have 2 of our Bridgerton leading ladies who are going to be on Only Murders in the Building at the same time.
And the Doctor and Joy are reunited once again, because I see David Tennant was also on the cast list for it.
Yes. And I'm super excited because Jim Broadbent is also for season 6, which I love him. He was Bridget Jones' dad in the Bridget Jones Diaries movies. He's been in so many British movies. I love Jim Broadbent. I'm super excited. He's super funny. And I think because he's kind of the age of Steve Martin and Martin Short, that'll play well. They'll play well together.
Yes, and then in other Bridgerton news this week, we finally got an official little snippet from Adjoa Ando saying that she has said bon voyage to the ton in the off-season and or in the time jump, and that she has headed off to Sierra Leone. So my fan theory for next season is that she is the one who has actually come back to the ton with Lord Anderson's son. Do I remember his name? No, I do not. And I feel like maybe he had some sort of rift going with his father, and she's like, well, you know, you and your father, we put our rift aside, it's time for you to do the same, and brings him back to like sort out this rift, only to realize that she's got another Simon on her hands of the garden utensil variety.
Or she immediately is like, you know, she has that connection like with Simon that she's like, you know, come back with me. I'm going to find you a wife.
She does like herself a spunky wee spark.
She likes a project.
Well, I mean, Simon was a project. Kate was a project. She was spiky.
And as much as the whole focus was on Edwina for that whole season, you could tell that Lady Danbury was focused on Kate.
Yes, she seemed like she was trying to sculpt Kate so that she didn't end up a miserable old spinster.
Somebody
So
is out there
th-
shooting off
this is a
fireworks or something.
this is a side tangent, but I don't know the creator's name, but someone did a comparison this week of Bridgerton versus ACOTAR characters, and ACOTAR is one of my favorite books. Actually, Sarah J. Maas is just one of my favorite authors. ACOTAR, they're fantastic for what they are, but I'm much more of a Todd girly. For those who don't know, ACOTAR is short for Quarter Thorns and Roses. But someone did a comparison of the characters, and someone said that Kate was Nesta. And if you knew Nesta's backstory, you'd be like, girl, why are you doing Kate dirty like that? Because Nesta, to say that she's spiky would be an understatement. There's a lot of I think she was diagnosed, like not diagnosed, but like I think it's been hinted at she's either like bipolar or NPD or very very on the very very spiky side. And I'm like, poor Kate, don't compare. Kate's loving and sweet and maternal.
Now she had her traumas that caused her to
Yeah, but she was never
and
that
like
spiky.
That.
She was just guarded.
Right. And then I'm going to throw out a couple of Bridgerton newses that are, one, I've not been able to verify, but I find it sweet, so I'm going to bring it up anyway. So somebody posted a quote. Apparently the actress who played Irma, the housekeeper, like the kitchen maid in the Penwood house, from an interview, but they didn't,
Sophie's godmother.
They didn't cite their source. So I haven't been able to find it, but it does make sense for the character, so it's now becoming canon to me. Is that because she's always been in service, she's never had her own child, and that is why she took to Sophie the way she did and was maternal, to her, because that was her only chance, basically, of having a child. The last part is my perspective of her quote, because it's not in front of me to read it exactly. But she mothered Sophie because she knew by that point she was not going to get to have children of her own. And I find that like it lends to both of their characters and their relationship to each other, and it deepens those moments, like her helping her get ready for the masquerade ball. You think about every mother wanting to help their daughter get ready for a prom or their wedding or what have you. And
Quinceanera, yeah.
I love that she created that background in her mind for her character like that. Although that's not confirmed, I think it's sweet, and I wanted to bring it up. Now, here's something that's floating around, and this is why you need to confirm things before you share them. Because I'm not going to name names, because I'm not going to diss another Bridgerton fan page, but it's a digital creator that has created a fan page. Like, they have their own page, and they've created a Bridgerton fan page. And they spread this as truth, as fact, when it is not. They said that Johnny Bailey and Simone Ashley signed on for a movie called The 1 Month Mark. And we were going to get to see them in a romantic comedy again, or in a romantic setting again. That's not true. That's a Jennifer Lawrence vehicle. She is set to star in it. She's also producing it. That is what is officially, Deadline's reported it. It's on IMDb. I could find nothing about Johnny Bailey and Simone Ashley. And I and another person commenting were the ones that burst her bubble. And then other digital creators, which is part of the reason I don't like to accept a lot of digital creators into our group, because they just regurgitate what they see in other groups. There was a few other people on her page that were upset with, well, I'm assuming her. I don't know, because the name isn't a girl's name. It's the name of something. They were upset because they had already shared that information, and now they had shared poor information. So just when you see things like that, be very careful. There's a lot of AI going around as well, where creators are inventing, like, I've seen AI stuff the last couple of weeks where, like, season 4 isn't out yet, but it's coming out. It's already out. And some people saying season 6 is coming out, like season 5 hasn't happened yet. Like, come on. Stop your AI business. So I just wanted to say that if you see anything about, like, Nicola and Simone Ashley has been reported by industry publications. That's there. Like, that's out there. But this other, somebody created a whole graphic for it, and it's false. So Be very careful. Like when you see something about somebody's work, Google it, check IMDb, see if they're attached to it yet.
Yeah, we try to monitor everything that comes through our page and make sure it is verified, information, or at least that people say, hey, this isn't verified. I just saw this. What do you think? Until it can be verified. We don't mind if you do that. Like, this could be happening, but don't spout things as fact if they're not.
Don't say it's fact. Yeah, don't say it's fact. And PSA for any digital creators that are in our Facebook group, if you share from the same other page that we believe is also yours, we are letting you go. We want our, our group is for people to interact with each other. We're fans talking about the show. We're not a marketing, to market your own digital content. So
right. you can we must make haste.
Yeah, you can come in and play with us and talk about Bridgerton if that's what you're there to do, if that's your intention.
Now we must make haste into today's episode.
And I just want to say, sorry, Sarah, I could not scroll through and find whatever Bridgerton news you were presenting. Please send it to the Ladies Bridgerton pod at gmail.com so I have it in my email, or we have it in our email so I can find it there. Because we're too chatty in the Tangent Squad chat. Now we can make haste. Sorry, I know you said it twice.
No fun.
So, bum, bum, bum. The
Queen enters the chat.
Well, and not just enters, she barrels in. Like, I was talking to Tosh off recording before we started. I was thinking about this today after, I wrote my notes last week. But I was thinking about this today. I mean, even with Alice and Will's party, she's brought in, she enters, but you see one of their servants kind of hovering in the background at the door, or they walk in front of her. Like, she was escorted through the home by one of their servants. When the Queen enters the room, there is no Featherington servant that opened the door. Featherington servants did not announce her. It was one of her guards. So we don't see Varley anywhere. So she barreled in.
So, the same scene, different scene, same energy. This was absolutely the starting of season 4 where Violet is barreling into the love shack to absolutely give her son a smack on the bottom for his behavior. Mm-hmm. It was a mad mama bear.
Yeah, and she now feels like she can do that and has the right to do that because the Queen did it. I'm kidding. But, the Queen sets the example for her subjects, and this was poor behavior.
Yeah, everyone has heard me go on and on about this, but now we're at the actual episode, so I'm going to go on some more. I cannot fathom the Queen having so little precognition.
Regard.
So little regard for someone's wedding day. And this is a love match, and it's very clear that it is a love match. And I'm sure that Lady Danbury would have stated as much to her as well. Mm-hmm. The fact that this is not just that. We've talked about the amount of finances that would go into an event like this. And she literally walks in and doesn't say, Bridgerton's into another room. She doesn't say, follow me outside. She does not summon them to court. Not court, like her court, you know what I mean?
Right.
She literally is like, F you all. F you very, very... that's what should have been playing in this bloody scene.
Right.
She literally just destroyed someone's wedding day. If this were America in 2026, people would be suing for financial compensation for this.
Sorry, I just made myself giggle. Do you know what would be the perfect song for her coming in? And it would have just ended. Taylor Swift just ends. It's so pretty. Colin's finger down her cheek and everything. And then it's like, her Queen, the Majesty, or whatever they say. And I came in like a wrecking ball.
She very much did, because she wrecks everything. And us Polin fans are never going to forgive her. So I actually saw someone post the other day, and they were like, he's like, I thought that Polin was the favorite couple, but he's like, then I scroll through and everyone complains about season 3. And I'm like, they are not one and the same. Do not confuse. Polin is majority. I won't say everyone's, but is majority of people's favorite couple. But that doesn't mean that we don't hold massive issue with the writing. But because we have such a love of Luke and Nicola and the way that they were able to overcome the writing and still perform their little hearts out to give us Polin, they are our favorite couple.
Yeah, and as the queen comes in, I marked some of the reactions.
Yeah.
All of the dancers break apart. Why do they do this? Because it is poor etiquette to be dancing in the middle of the day.
I wonder if people were like, oh my god, we danced in the middle of the day. Now the queen is here to punish us all.
But I mean, they all just are like,
and then this is the starting of the movie Footloose.
Right. No more dancing. Prudence about jumps out of her skin. Like, she jumps almost a foot in the air, it seems like. She is so surprised to find the queen there, which her reaction alone tells me Portia never thought the queen would come and did not invite her. So, in my opinion, the queen showed up uninvited. Not like Alice's ball where she was invited. And she shows up uninvited at the
otherwise,
end.
the queen would have set up the whole dais kind of situation for her. Sorry,
yeah,
Portia
would have set up a viewing area for her. And like the butterfly ball, Prudence said they didn't invite her, but we know Penelope did. So this moment is after chastising Cressida and her mother for showing up to a ball they were not invited to. She's now done the same thing, only it's not just a ball. It's somebody's wedding. And she knows she's going to ruin it.
I do view the queen as arrogant enough to think that she owns the entirety of England and she only allows them to hold estates and she can go wherever she wills.
I mean, true. They treat royalty like that. However, it is definitely a double standard because she really did burn Cressida and her mother for being at a ball they were not invited to. Were you invited to this event? No, we were not.
The queen is 1000% a do what I say, not what I do kind of a lady.
Right. And then I noticed that Fran, at one of the broke apart dance couples, she was really happy to see the queen because she's thinking, hey, the queen came
I've got
to
my moment.
Wedding.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think she was thinking she had her moment. I think she was happy for Colin and Penn that the queen graced their wedding. Like, she hadn't registered that the queen's not happy. Do you get what I'm saying?
You mean Tism doesn't know how to read a room?
Shocker. And then everybody bows, except, and I'm going to point this out twice, because Philippa does not follow etiquette twice. Everybody bows. They do that deep curtsy, but Philippa only bows her head. She nods her head the first time through. And then here the queen addresses Portia, who's shimmying, holds her dress and shimmies when the queen says, Lady Featherington. She's like, look at me, queen's talking to me.
I don't know. Like, I feel like even Portia was like, what is going on? She is angry. Like, is it because I didn't invite her? Like, did I make a misstep? Have I broken the rule violation?
Yeah, she definitely changes her tune when she says everyone who isn't a Bridgerton needs to go, because Portia gives her such a passive-aggressive smile that I almost am worried for the queen, because we all know how Portia is. You know,
yes.
But Portia's so insidious. Like, I feel like she's gonna, like, how dare you?
If we were playing a game of Clue, we absolutely would know who killed the queen.
Yes. It would be Portia with a a bust, like one of those busts that are up in the wall. Mm-hmm. They have those in the wall in the wedding breakfast room, whatever that room is, the ballroom or whatever.
This is the perfect Harry Potter Bridgerton crossover. Not my daughter, you bitch! Throws the bust.
Right. So the queen addresses Portia, and all of the Featheringtons bow again. Only this time, Philippa just side-eyes the queen. Like, Philippa is like backing up Penn here. Like, this isn't good. And you didn't respect my sister, so I'm not giving you any respect. Like, seriously, go back and watch it. The first time she bows her head. The second time, she's complete rebel. She just side-eyes. She stands there like, and you already got one bow out of me. Because she's not about impressing anyone anymore, especially the queen. And the queen says something about it's a lovely party or whatever, but then she's like, everybody who isn't a Bridgerton needs to go.
No, she doesn't. It goes, Lady Featherington, Your Majesty, everyone who's not a Featherington may go. There's no...
Everyone who's not a Bridgerton. Well, she acknowledges, the only etiquette here at all is that she acknowledges the lady of the house.
Yes, period. And it seemed like I'm doing my legal duty, but like that's the most respect I will give to you, the minimum.
Right. And then when everybody's like literally WTF and is frozen in place, she's like, now!
Yeah.
And everybody starts scattering. But if you look at Portia's face when she starts walking out, she looks and sees people leaving, and you, for a moment,
my moment is gone.
Anger flashes across her face, and then when she walks past the queen, she smiles, but it's like this sickeningly sweet, like passive-aggressive smile, like a smirk. It's like a smirk more than a smile as she walks past her. And I just know there's so many people out there that are like, Penelope is so new to being a Bridgerton that she doesn't realize she is a Bridgerton, and she starts walking out the door. Only, I think Penelope's more clever than that, and I think she's trying to get out of an audience with the queen because she's afraid. Because if she was thinking she was a Featherington, she would be walking out the same door as her family, who she was standing near. Only Colin was in between her and her family in this crowd at this point. And they all walked out the one side door. She turned and walked behind Colin toward the other back door, towards the back of the ballroom, to exit. And I think there's a reason behind that. I think she was trying to sneak out before Colin realized she left. I think she might know what was coming, didn't know how to handle it, and was hoping for a moment to gather herself before Colin said, hey, you're supposed to be in here. You're a Bridgerton now. Or people would forgive her because she'd been married for all of 5.5 seconds. And that, you know, it would be a funny joke that she didn't realize.
I personally think that he's like, I know exactly why she's here, and it's because of you. You are not escaping this room. I need to keep eyes on you so you can't do something reckless.
Right. That's what I'm saying, though. I think she tried to sneak out without Colin noticing. Not that she had no idea she was... Like, not that it was so new, she didn't realize she was a Bridgerton. I think she was trying to sneak away, and he caught her, and he's like, you're a Bridgerton now.
Where do you think you're going, little lady?
Right? So I don't think she forgot. I don't think it was so new she forgot. I think she was trying to give herself... She's like, I need 5 more minutes. 5 more minutes. That's it.
I actually didn't love that Penelope tried to leave the room. With her knowing specifically that the queen was there for her, it felt a little bit slippery to me. Like, you guys can take the wrath for me.
Yes, I don't think she was intending to run
It was a
forever.
very Featherington move of her.
It was her last move as a Featherington, honestly. It was like, I'm a Bridgerton, but I am also a Featherington. Just like Daphne said, I may be a Duchess, but I'm still a Bridgerton. Maybe a Bridgerton, but I'm 2026 still a Featherington.
Penelope was 100% hyphenating her name.
Yeah. But as we look at the Bridgertons now, everybody's left the room, and we map out the Bridgertons and where they're placed. I think this tells a lot of the story. First of all, the babies are together, and they're next to mom. So... And Fran is also clinging to... Because John left. John's not a Bridgerton. And she's not married to him yet, so she had to stay. She's clinging to her mother like her mother's a buoy. And Gregory and Hyacinth are standing by their mother, just confused. Like, what is going on? Kate and Anthony are standing behind them. Then it's Penn and Colin. Lady Danbury, who is not a Bridgerton, is still in the room.
But she knows exactly what's going on.
And where is she standing?
She's like, I'm Bridgerton adjacent. I've had enough of the of Papa. Oh, what was his name? Lord
Ledger.
Lord Ledger. She's like, adjacent.
Yes, but I find it interesting where she's standing. If her friend's family was called before the queen, where do you think she'd be standing?
In front of them?
In support of her friend. With her friend. But she's standing over by Eloise. So that's like the first kind of indication to me that Lady Danbury believes the queen still thinks it's Eloise. Because she's kind of, it's Eloise, then Lady Danbury. Like, Lady Danbury could step in front.
Realistically, if we're going through the list, like, when Francesca comes forward, I'm the one with the secret. She's like, you? Like, not in a million years would she ever expect it to be Francesca. She's like, you don't have enough personality for this. Let's be real. And then going down the list, Hyacinth is too young. Eloise is the only one who was of age. She knows it's not a man. So Kate was out of the country until season 2. So it couldn't have been her. So realistically, Penelope and Eloise are the only two people that make sense for it to be.
Or Violet. But I don't think she thinks it's Violet.
Yeah, I think she thinks that Violet has too soft a disposition for that kind of thing.
And the entire time, like as soon as she says, someone in this room has something to hide.
I mean, that is the most mum line I've ever heard, though, because you don't say what you know. You wait for the idiots to come and admit what they've done.
But she looks directly towards Eloise / Lady Danbury. So I am assuming she's either trying to clock Lady Danbury's expression, or she thinks it's Eloise and she's glancing that way because her mind is saying, okay, come forward. Well, you know what I mean?
And I think that it is, she does think that it is Eloise, because she's like, I came very close to weeding you out last season, but then, my plans got thwarted. And she looks at Eloise again.
Yeah, she looks at her like 4 or 5 times through this whole thing.
Yes, I think it's very clear that she thinks it is Eloise, and that Eloise just ruined her own reputation to save herself as Lady Whistledown.
Yep.
But now that she's seeing that Eloise, but now that she sees that Eloise isn't participating in the marriage much, she's like, maybe this was Eloise's plan the whole time, was to be able to earn enough money that she could stay a spinster if she's not interested in it. And This is her way of, and this is why she's not interested in the marriage mark, because she's got Lady Whistledown.
Because why would a woman need a man if she has her own money?
Yeah. If she's got her own purpose.
Yep. And through this whole line the queen is saying, we see Pen blinking like she's malfunctioning. She's working up the courage to come forward. She's thinking in her mind, do I or don't I? Will it help the Bridgertons or not? She's not necessarily thinking about herself at this point, but she's trying to gather the courage to speak if she believes, and deciding if she should speak. And when the queen says, I won't leave until that, someone comes forward, Eloise tilts her head towards Pen as she's looking at the ground like, oh my gosh, this is Whistledown related, right? Like, it's just clicked with her exactly what this is about. And she was cornered in that carriage with the queen, so she knows how this is going to go. And she's like, oh my gosh, what is, she's probably thinking a million things. What is this going to do to Pen? What is this going to do to Colin? What's it going to do for their marriage? I think for a moment, Eloise was thinking about falling on the sword again, because it would have been the easiest thing to do.
I do think she realizes, like, this is the full, because the way that the queen has come into this room is like, I'm ready to off the head of Lady Whistledown. Like, the queen up until this point, like, this is what we say about the writing and make it make sense, because the way that she comes in, she is furious. She is a woman scorned, not someone playing cat and mouse who's finally caught her prize.
Yeah, she's not playing Clue. She's angry that she has not figured it out yet, or that the person is tricking her. Like, she doesn't even feel like she hasn't figured it out. She believes she's being tricked.
Yeah, no, it's I think this is Eloise's kind of realization of a lot of things to do with Penelope. And I feel like this moment is sort of why she also has that moment of almost like full forgiveness with Penelope after the scene where she goes and comforts her after Colin leaves, because she's like, okay, I get it now. I get what you were protecting me from.
Yeah, because she sees the queen in full fury. And she knows the queen threatened her life in that carriage. So she understands, I think, in this moment, what Penelope protected her from by speaking out about her radical views.
Yes.
And we also see, like, personally, I think if the queen was observant at all, she would figure out it was Penelope just by the way people are acting. Like, Eloise isn't looking around. Like, Violet's looking around, Anthony's looking around, Lady D is not really looking around yet, but Eloise is purposely not looking at Penn at all. Purposely not looking at her. And Colin cannot take his eyes off of her. He's faced sideways. He's not facing the queen. His attention is solely on Penn. He is feeling every bit of her trepidation, her fear, her anxiety. And I feel like he looks like he's trying to will it into himself, like he's trying to absorb it for her, or he's willing her to just like, don't speak, don't speak, don't speak. Like he's trying to communicate silently with her. Like if there's ever a time our mental sync works, it needs to be now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he is so intensely focused on her. The queen should have been able to read the room and been like, Miss Penelope Featherington, Bridgerton, it is you. But
yeah, if she looked around the room at all, she would see that Penelope was like riddled with anxiety and was like just about mid panic attack watching this happen.
She was about to say it like 3 times.
I think it's hilarious that, as per usual, Francesca is just completely tone deaf and is like, "It is me. I have the secret. I hold all the powers."
Well, think about it. Her mother has built up the queen's ire at her and John's union to try and hold them off, hoping that Francesca, well, I don't want to say hoping, but seeing if Francesca will decide maybe this isn't the guy for her, right? Because she feels off about it. She's trying to give Francesca more time to make a solid decision, and she's built up the queen's ire so much that Francesca's legit scared of her and what she'll say.
Well, and I do kind of think that if the queen gave you an option in 1815, that is your only option. Like, I feel like you would not be allowed to turn down a match that the queen has specifically made for it being seen as like the ultimate insult to her, because back then marriages were organized on compatibility of wealth and assets, not on love matches. And she's already been thwarted by the Bridgertons twice now.
Yeah, not one single Bridgerton has married her choice yet.
Yes.
And I think that's why she didn't even make a choice in season 4. She just chose somebody to say he'll marry, but she never presented him anyone to marry. You get what I'm saying? Like, she presented all the ladies with an eligible gentleman, but she never presented Benedict with anyone.
That's true, actually. Although I suppose he was kind of doing his own thing, like he was very, very actively going to houses and pursuing and going to all of the events, trying to find his match, supposedly.
And when she steps forward and says she has the secret, the look of sheer disbelief and disgust on the queen's face when she goes, "You?"
Like, please don't let it be. Please don't let it be this Debbie Downer.
She's like, there's no way. Like, I can't. Like, I think the queen would have went and laid down and died if it was Francesca was Whistledown, because she'd have been like, I was
thwarted by her.
Yeah, I was thwarted by that girl. Like, that's...
Yes, she's like, Jesus, take the wheel. I need to hand over this crown. I've clearly lost my touch.
It's time for my son to take over. Like, something's got to give.
Yeah. Although I do like this moment for Francesca, and the fact that she's like, perhaps, I have been very humbled by your majesty's interest in my prospects, perhaps so much so that I have not been bold enough in declaring myself. I love that moment after John's like, you know what, maybe we should be more bold in declaring ourselves. Mm-hmm. And this is the first moment where you see and this is where I hold a lot of issue with season 4, is we can see how giddy she is about this match and how in love with him she is. This is not just he gives me quiet. He gives me peace. This is not... she was in love with him.
Yeah, she loved him. And when the queen says, you're free to marry whomever you like, she is so giddy. Like, she squeezes her mom's hand. She's practically shaking
like, well,
Violet.
Remember that statement, because in 2 seasons, I'm a marry who I like, and you may not like it.
Right. And actually, that's probably a foreshadowing, because that's their plan. Because the queen does say, you can marry whomever you choose or whomever you like or whatever.
Yeah.
But Fran is so proud of herself for stepping up to the queen and talking to the queen, which I also feel like in Penelope's book, the entire story revolved around her becoming brave enough to stand up for herself, to her mother, to Cressida, to people of the ton. And I mean, the queen didn't exist in the books, but just in every single scene, something of Pen's gets taken away from her. Something from Penelope and Colin gets taken away from them. And again, their wedding breakfast is ruined, but then Francesca gets that huge moment of pride being able to talk to the queen and stand up for her, what she wants to the queen, before Penelope even does. So Penelope just looks like a copycat.
And like, this is the moment that you also see the repair happen between, the start of the repair happen between Violet and Francesca as well, because she's like, she gives that little squeeze, like, I'm so proud of you. You did this, you know? And I think that is part of a mum's job, is to push their children out of the bounds. I think especially in 2026, parents are very chronic for swooping in and saving their children and solving their problems for them. And no, honey, you don't have to go to school. And no, honey, you don't have to hand in that homework. And no, honey, you don't have to abide by the laws because I told you didn't have to. You know, like there's a lot of that going on nowadays.
And
so I do think
this is probably the moment that Violet realizes she really does love him. And her fears are assuaged, because what could possibly get Francesca to come out of her shell and stand up for herself to the queen of all people?
To the queen in the most wrathful mood they've ever seen her in.
Right. Like, she wanted her mother to go and address the queen in her stead. And now here she's doing it all on her own in front of everyone. Well, their family, you know. But still, that's huge for her. That's still a pretty big crowd. And in this moment, as they pan around and they're looking at everybody, when she says, I speak of Whistledown.
Whistledown. Yes, I knew she's in this room.
Lady Danbury immediately looks at Pen. That is how we know she knows. And the direct editing right after is showing Anthony and Kate is looking at Pen. Kate also knows. I think that is why Kate is not stressing anything. She's no longer stressing how her and Anthony appear in public, how she appears in public, because she knows her sister-in-law is Lady Whistledown. And she's very astute. Like, she knows. It's quite obvious to me. And the fact that they never make it a big deal in season 4 with Anthony finding out and Kate finding out, I think Kate already knew and Kate told him, which is what I said before.
I love that the queen just continues her burns and she's like, and now only when the Cowper girl, like, not Miss Cowper, it's the Cowper girl. I would have loved if she had said the Cowper chit.
Right. If she would have also said chit, that would have been hilarious. Like, sorry, Cressida, you are a chit.
I mean, accurate, but...
Yeah, and I just want to say, I did some looking up of a definition of a word, because I found it interesting that it was used when she said, I was close last year. Tantalizingly so.
Yes, deliciously.
Is a pleasant torture. It arouses appetite, but keeps whatever you're wanting out of your grasp.
Just out of reach, yes.
So this takes us into the queen's mindset here and probably gives Lady Danbury the idea of equating it to a game. Like, hey, when you uncover her, the game's over, because this is what is bringing the queen joy. The queen is going through a lot right now.
Yeah.
And this is what is bringing her joy.
I feel like it's honestly the only thing that has kept her going for the last few years of her husband's insanity. Like, she's got nothing else to look forward to. She's got no one else who speaks plainly to her. Lady Whistledown is the only one who speaks, and not only speaks, but you know when they say, like, when you're surrounded by yes people, you need a no person. And Lady Whistledown is a no person.
Yeah. And again, the queen at this point looks at Eloise when she says this. When she says tantalizingly so, she looks at Eloise again. And I kind of feel like her expression here is like, the Scooby Gang, when they're about to pull the costume off of the perpetrator, like, they're not a ghost. It's Old Man Dithers or whatever, like how that kind of smug look. Like, I think she's smug here. I think she believes she knows it really is Eloise.
That would be a fun game to play. If the Bridgerton family with the Scooby Gang, who would everyone be?
That might have to happen.
Gregory is 100% Scooby.
Right.
Eloise is Thelma.
Well, that would
I'm like Thelma and Louise.
Anthony is the druggy one, so he'd be Shaggy.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And him and Gregory running around as Shag and Scoob.
Yes.
So funny.
That's actually
Eloise
quite funny.
Is Thelma all day. Daphne is Velma. Perfect and...
No. Velma is the glasses.
Oh, I got him.
I actually don't...
No, wait. Yeah. I said Thelma. It's Velma. Who is... What's her name? The other girl. Freddie, Velma... Daphne. Isn't it Daphne?
It is Daphne.
So Daphne
Sorry,
is Daphne.
when you said Daphne is Daphne. When you said Daphne, I put in Bridgerton.
Well, no, Daphne is Daphne. That's what threw me off.
Daphne is Daphne.
Daphne is Daphne.
But I don't know, Fred, even though Daphne and Fred, that's a bit weird, but Fred would be Johnny Bailey.
Well, in the old cartoon, they weren't, like, together. That just happened in the movies from the early 2000s. Yeah. So, yeah, that would be Anthony all day.
Which is super cute, though, because Freddie Prinze Jr. and her are still together, even to this day, which I think is adorable.
Very adorable.
Yes.
So, yeah, we just did that real quick.
Side tangent, sorry.
So now we're at Anthony saying,
Your Majesty, I assure you, if such thing were to happen in my home, I would know of it. And I would have put a stop to it a long time ago, he says, as his brother's getting dicked down in the back room, like, do you know that dude?
Do you know? Yeah. And Penelope looks at him here like she realizes that she might be a disappointment to Anthony. And I think this is the moment where she understands a little more about Colin now.
I feel, sorry to go back for a second, but I feel like the Queen actually gave Anthony a crap ton more respect than she gave to Portia, because like when he addresses her, he bows, she holds her tongue, and then when he says, I would know of it, and she goes, very well, and she's not saying very well, I believe what you're saying. She's saying, very well, I believe you believe what you're saying.
Right. She doesn't believe him for a minute, but she's
saying, I respect that this is, she's like saying almost like, I respect that this is your house and you're going to protect them. I will be back, but I will respect you enough to leave for today.
Yeah. But Penelope looks at Anthony and realizes she might be a disappointment to him. But I think she also understands a little bit more of Colin's psyche, like why Colin is acting the way he is about Whistledown because of Anthony.
Yes.
And I want to bring this up. Simone Ashley, like, I want to bring this up again. Your perfect comedic timing. As Anthony's talking, she's just got those, her eyes are normally, we just talked about it in the last pod about how piercing her gaze is. But here, her eyes are big as does. She's got doe eyes, and she's just nodding like, yes, what my husband says is true. Like, exactly. He would know. Like, it's the most vapid wife move of just, I hope you're buying this. I hope you're buying this. What he's saying sounds plausible.
Yeah. And I think that this is the moment where Penelope realizes if Anthony finds out that it is her, that he would potentially try to annul the wedding on their... I don't actually know if he can, or whether he can just threaten it, or threaten to remove Colin from the families.
I'll say this. When Penelope offers at the end, technically Colin can annul, because the only people that know that she and he...
No, but I want to know whether... Anthony, because like the head of the household controls everything, and the head of the household can essentially annul Colin from the family if he doesn't say or do what he wishes.
He can excommunicate Colin, but he cannot annul the marriage, because Colin would come forward in a minute and say, no, brother, we've been intimate.
No, but you know what I'm saying? I think that's still a valid concern on Penelope's face, like when she realizes how sternly Anthony feels about this.
Yeah. Like, the queen is
Yes,
not the only consequence here.
and I wonder whether that's actually a big reason why Colin jets it out of the room straight after this, is to avoid Anthony then questioning everyone. Is it you? Is it you? What's going on in my household?
Yeah. And as the queen says this specific line, hold your tongue another night, she side-eyes Eloise 3 more times. She still is dead set that it's Eloise, I think.
Yes.
Like, she just keeps looking at Eloise. And then she turns and leaves. And then at that point, we see Colin book it because he doesn't want to deal with Anthony.
Like, that should have told everyone in that room who did not know exactly who Lady Whistledown is.
I know. I think everybody should have known by the end of this.
Like, I do think it is a valid, not valid concern, like a valid point to make, that he also put his heart and soul into planning this event for Penelope. And he's like, my big day's ruined.
Yeah, but Anthony knows more about a Bridgerton who's missing than pretty much anyone else in the room does. Because in season 2, he went to Benedict, and Benedict gave him a poem to read for Lady Danbury's soiree. So he knows Benedict can write. And Benedict is missing. So I almost feel like his saying, if it was happening in my house, I would know, da-da-da-da, is because he thinks potentially it could be Benedict. Because Benedict isn't present. Where is he? He has no idea because he gave the Irish goodbye. And he knows he can write. So I wonder if Anthony thought he was protecting Benedict.
I love, someone pointed out the other day, it was on a Greek TikTok Instagrammy reel, and it was like the opposite of the Irish goodbye is the Greek goodbye, where you basically have to start saying goodbye from the moment you arrive, because it will take you 2 calendar business days to say goodbye to everyone.
Yeah, for sure. That's like the Midwest goodbye is similar. Except you say, oh, I'm going to go now. But then you start talking again. And you talk for 20 more minutes. Like, yeah, I'm going to go. That's the Midwest goodbye.
Ours is, if you leave without saying a personal goodbye in a 5-minute conversation with every single person in the room, you are rude.
For sure.
It's exhausting.
So then we see Eloise. We know Eloise sees Penn following him out. And we know she eventually follows because of where she lands. Here's what bothers me. This is an editing thing possibly, or my guess, because I know they had to come back and they had to reshoot this scene we're about to talk about between Colin and Penn, because originally when they started editing, they felt like it was too angry and they wanted it to be more of a disagreement, like a conversation. So they came back because we got Wigbert back again here. I take issue with partygoers.
Wigbert, yes, we all do.
Well, besides Wigbert, partygoers are exiting the house as Colin comes down the stairs. And here's why this bothers me. I'm sure some partygoers would stay. I'm sure Portia, the Featheringtons, and some partygoers had ears to the door, like, to try and hear what's going on.
I'm surprised Portia wasn't just like, let's move it to the back garden. The festivities will continue there. There's no way that Portia was going to let her moment be over.
And have that party be over, yeah. But what bothers me about these people leaving is there's no way for Colin to have come down that front door because that's the front door. That's where we saw
him enter
Penelope
in season 2.
Escorting him out in season 2 when Penelope.
He goes to the most open area space of the entire house, looks 2 ways. I'm like, buddy, there are 4 different entrances here and anyone could be hiding around any one of those corners. It is the most implausible spot ever.
He walked out front.
Was still walking out. She was barely ahead of him.
The queen wasn't ahead. She would have been behind. The queen could have or should have heard this conversation. That's all I'm saying. Like, this editing doesn't make sense. If you're showing people leaving the front door, leaving the house when Colin walks down, and that's the front door, we all have to wonder, where's the queen? And why is he so openly having this conversation in the front foyer when the queen is still in the house? Unless they told the queen to exit the back door or the servants' entrance.
She's like, excuse me, I am not Benedict.
Right. Nobody is sending the queen out the side door. I'm sorry. Like, you can go out through the garage.
You've embarrassed us enough.
Like, I just don't know. We needed to see Portia waylay her in that other room or something to help me wrap my head around it. But it just, I know they had to reshoot it, and I think they should have just left the room empty, or have it be a couple of guards leaving, like they're behind the queen as she's leaving. That would have made better sense to me.
And like, we get through this next part, and I do very much understand Colin's kind of path of what he's thinking here. And this isn't the part that I hold great issue with. It is that once he doesn't get his way, he kind of does throw the toys out the cot a little bit and goes into almost punishment mode.
Yeah, and I think what makes this argument, I mean, it is a healthy argument. They're not really raising their voices. They are passionate about their side of things. They're both expressing their feelings. They're both allowing the space for the other person to speak. They're not talking over each other. And the issue I take with Colin is because it's not resolved, and he's not recognizing how closely related to Anthony he's being in this scene. Because if somebody said, hey, Anthony, why don't you tone it down a little bit? Colin would be like,
I am not my brother.
Yeah, except he is completely, from this moment until he screws things up royally with Cressida, he is acting exactly as Anthony did.
You know how when you try to mask and embody someone else, like I remember a placement I went on and for teaching, and she had a very particular way of doing things as she was ex-army, Navy. They very stringent, and I try to mimic that because I was like, okay, that's the only way that she's going to be happy. And I just fell on my face so hard because it was not my style, you know? Right. And when you try to embody someone who doesn't, like something that doesn't come naturally to you, it tends to backfire because you're not truly putting your heart into it. And I mean, this entire faux personality that Colin puts on for the next episode and a bit, basically he falls on his face multiple times because it's not him and he's not Anthony.
And that's the whole fact of it is here. And the people who don't see that, who don't understand, like, he's not angry here. He is out of his element. He's out of his depth. He doesn't know what to do. So he's relying on the only thing he's ever witnessed, and that is Anthony coming in, taking over, and bulldozing a situation, trying to fix it.
What makes me sad, though, is that we went from I miss the Colin that I fell in love with, kind, excitable, occasionally excitable, easily excitable, like that we go from her having that love confession to him where she's like, I need my Colin back, and we get glimpses of it in this episode. And then the writers, this is what happens when you have different writers constantly, is it just goes straight back to him putting on armor.
And I'm going to pose this. I don't know who actually listens to us, and I don't know, although there's so many coincidences that Kay and I are convinced that at some point somebody from Netflix, Bridgerton, whomever, has listened to our show. And I'm not saying that like in a narcissistic way. Yeah. I don't think they listen religiously. I think they've randomly heard things. But I pose a question. If there's anyone out there involved in the show or whatever, I want to know what was so wrong in the book with what happened from their wedding to the end of the story that none of it could be used, right? Because Colin knew she was Whistledown, and he accepted her as Whistledown, and he protected her as Whistledown, and he was jealous, and he admitted to being jealous, but he was also very proud of her. He was never not proud of her. He was just jealous of her success.
And he was still loving on her. He just didn't want to talk about it.
Yes, he was avoiding talking about it because he didn't want to admit he was jealous, but he was still loving her, acting as a husband should, and whatnot. I get maybe they were wanting to show another form of sexuality in having Colin be demisexual, as we've talked about multiple times, but it bothers me because it would have spoken volumes to the kind of connection they have. Because And you know, you're in a marriage right now. I've been married too. Sometimes you love a person at the same time as you're mad at them. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
so, and you do things because you love them, but you're still mad at them. Like, I'm still mad at
Yes.
you. I'm not done being mad, but I love you. So I'm going to act like I love you because I don't want to walk around acting mad all the time. That's for me to
I
get
will still
over.
feed you, but I might season it a little less this time.
Or I might add a little extra salt to the popcorn because I know you're not a big salt fan. Just saying. Did that ever happen in my past? Yes, it did. Not with my husband, though, with someone else.
I love salt.
Me too. Me too. And that's why it got more salt because I was put in charge of it because somebody.
Well,
Anyways.
fear not, Patty, because it is definitely getting saltier. As long as you are Whistledown, forever this lie will hang over all of us. And I think that this is a kind of moment where Colin is saying, "You are a Bridgerton now," and I do understand that this is the first time she has a family that she may want to protect, is what he's saying. Is he knows that she has written poorly about the Featheringtons multiple times. So he knows that she isn't above talking badly about her own family, right? And he's like, well, you've never cared about being Whistledown because you never had anything to lose, but now you do, and it's at the cost of my family. And I do very much understand that sentiment as well. Like, because I'm not going to sit here and be like, you know, Colin's completely not blameless or to blame, but like they both have valid points.
Yeah, and I think that's where they wanted to come from with the filming of this scene, because I've seen interviews where Luke Newton was talking about the reshoots, and he said that this is the kind of argument that couples have, that partners have, where no one is really right or wrong. There are multiple ways that this could play out. They are both championing their specific way, the way they think it would be best to work out, but they're not necessarily dismissing the way the other person wants it to work out. They just are struggling to see how that is a better way than their own way. And ultimately, in the end, I don't think he said he was going to sleep on the couch because he's angry. I think he chose the couch because he doesn't want to enter their marriage bed with something this big, unresolved, and looming over them.
Yeah, and I think we've said it before that, like, obviously when you're in that newlywed phase, obviously things are very, very different now because we date for years, you know, before getting married, typically.
Right.
So you're not, when people say you're in that newlywed stage, I think it's very different nowadays to what it was back then. But back then was the first time that you were able to legally consummate your marriage. And I think a lot of people nowadays get into relationships, and in that newlywed phase that they would now call is just like when you're first starting dating, is you don't look so closely a lot of the flaws because you're, as Taylor Swift would also elegantly put it, stigmatized, where, you know, all the oxytocin that you are getting from the physical affection and those early day flutters, you're so, you know, overwhelmed by them that we often don't look at the red flags. And so I think Colin's like, I want to go into this in a healthy mindset, and I don't want to just push aside our issues, because if we start sleeping together, I'm going to feel good. I'm going to love it, and I'm going to push aside all of these concerns, but they do actually need sorting through. So I want to sort through them, and then we can enjoy that time with each other honestly, without reservation.
Right. And I think we all know from the end of this season into season 4 that ultimately for Colin and Penn, that was, I don't want to say the right choice because I'm really, the queen is at fault here, people. The queen is at fault. It is her
I'm so
fault
mad at
they
her
did
for
not
it.
have a wedding night. Because if she wouldn't have come in at that moment, the problem wouldn't have seemed so large and looming that Colin felt like they couldn't overcome it together. The reason
you step into my wedding and ruin it, I'm gonna consider punching you in the face whether you're a queen or not.
Right? Could you?
I'm a princess, damn it.
Because Golda Rochevelle is a statuesque woman. She's not exactly short, right? Like Penelope to her is much shorter. Like, I would love to see Penelope punch the queen in the face.
I
Or
have plenty of
attempt to.
I have plenty of step stools around my house to help me.
Or if there could just be a moment of confrontation where Colin has to hold her back and she's like, reaching around him, that would be
I would
fantastic.
absolutely die if she's like, Vali, fetch my stool, hops up on the stool, slaps her across the face. Fetch my slapping stool.
My slapping stool. Or she just walks up like, Colin, and he gets down on one knee and she steps up onto his knee, like, so she's tall enough.
Acrobatic slapping style.
That's funny. That's hilarious. But yeah, I think that, and that's the reason this felt so icky to us after having the wedding breakfast, having that beautiful dance. Polin fans felt sickened by this moment because this is raw and real. And I think Luke Newton and I think it was the right choice to reshoot, even though we got Wigbert. If they were playing it like they were screaming in each other's face,
I would not like that one little bit.
I wouldn't have either, because even Colin and Penelope disagreed in the book. And now, mind you, it's a book, it's words. But I never read it like they were screaming at each other because they had known each other for so long. And Colin was so respectful. So if I would have seen them screaming at each other or yelling loudly or even being like Kate and Anthony were in season 2, I wouldn't have been able to handle it. So I think it was the right choice to reshoot. And I think Luke Newton and Nicola Coughlan played it perfectly. They were impassioned by their side.
Well, and I think that I think that Penelope said the right words to make Colin understand her perspective. Do you know what it is like to have nowhere in the world you can truly be yourself? You cannot possibly know because you are not a woman. You have the choice to be any kind of person you wish to be, while the only choice women have is to conceal the parts of ourselves the world will not accept.
Yes, well...
And I think that was digging right into his sensitivities because she's like,
exactly
we have had these conversations about finding your purpose in life and feeling a little bit listless, and he has these insecurities too and she knows them.
And I think that's why he gets so defensive, and I think this is kind of a tone-deaf moment.
A little bit of a low blow. Yeah.
Because I don't want to say low blow, I say tone-deaf, because she's adding the element of her being a woman is what makes it worse. Kind of like Eloise does with Benedict all the time.
I actually felt like it was her saying, you have the choice to be whoever you wish to be. Yeah. You are choosing not to be that person. I don't have the choice.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because she's a woman, she doesn't have the choice. Colin has lived through that exact same thing. He has had to diminish parts of himself so that he could be acceptable to the patriarchy, basically, to the public. And it is the same thing, but she's making it not the same thing because just because he's a man, he can choose to be whatever he wants. But you and I both know what happens to a sensitive man in a room full of that alpha male type. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like all those dudes that have podcasts who want trad wives, like what they would do to a sensitive man. I mean, they're the whole reason we have men being called betas and golden retrievers and all these other technically negative terms.
Ironic thing is golden retriever is not a negative term. It's very much to describe a male that you'd want to be with.
It is, but they've turned it negative. Like that song Walking Like a Dog. It's you're a dog for her. You're whipped. You're like, because you put your woman, you care about your woman's feelings, you care about her happiness, that is diminishes your manlyhood or your manliness, your masculinity. And we know that that's what Colin has been dealing with in the groups of friends he's had. And she hasn't witnessed that. She hasn't seen it. And in a way, it kind of turns the whole being a woman, being a man argument. It flips it because now she's saying, I have this because I'm a woman. So this is solely a woman thing. You could never understand it, where a lot of men say, well, you never understand what it's like being a man and having to be the provider and having to whatever. Like, it kind of flips that whole argument on its head, which I love that Shondaland and Netflix does that with Bridgerton, kind of takes these gender conversations and gender roles and flips them like they did in season 4 with Violet being the rake,
Mm-hmm.
like choose having a sexual relationship without having a marriage or a commitment happen at the end because she wants to find herself is really kind of what men get to do, but women never do. And so
No.
it was a nice conversation to have, and I like that they do that. But Pollen fans, like, we felt this deep in our guts. Like, this just ripped me from one side to the other. I felt like I had a sword in my belly through this whole
Yeah.
conversation.
And it wasn't like we were just like, oh, give us the smart, we can't wait for the wedding night, mirror, carriage scene 3.0, like, give me more, give me more. Like, it wasn't that kind of desire at all. It was just that we had been waiting for this repair for so long.
Mm-hmm.
It felt like just so long. And we got so much angsty Colin and anxious Pen that we just needed some happy spots. And for the Queen to swoop in when we thought, okay, we just got some of our most romantic scenes of the entire season, you know, the wedding and the wedding dance, and then to just like to give us that hope and then strip it away was really cruel.
For sure.
All right, let's talk about the repair with Eloise because Colin says, you know, I will find our carriage and kind of storms off. And I feel like he is very much jitting out of there before Violet or Anthony can find him.
Yeah, I think he wants to get the heck out of Dodge before they meddle.
I am very, very surprised by Eloise here because she doesn't ask any questions. She just comes in and comforts. Very season 1 Eloise vibes where she just has a little bit more awareness this time around of someone else's feelings and that she just needed a friend. She just needed to be there. She didn't have to say anything.
Well, and that's true. She did what she does best, which in this moment, like, she saves Pen from going through the big feels alone. Like, when Pen comes to her hysterical, she doesn't ask questions. She doesn't dig deep. She just holds on to her and she supports her, which is exactly what Pen teaches Colin to do for her as well. And I do love that. But what I also felt here because Eloise had this look of fear on her face when she comes upon them and they've obviously had this big argument, that she didn't help when Penelope asked her for help. And now they're at this point and it looks like their marriage is not going to be successful. And I think Eloise feels like guilt. I think she feels a little bit guilty here. Not that she's comforting her out of guilt. I think that's true, genuine sisterhood.
I actually think that this is a moment where she's like, Penelope still needs me, and she feels emotional about the fact that she's like, I thought that once they got married, I was Dunsky, like it was just going to be Pen and Colin from now on, but Pen still needs me, and I can still be Eloise for her.
Yeah. I think when Pen asked her for her help before, she didn't know how she could help where it wouldn't look like meddling to Colin. But now she can see, oh, I don't have to change one bit. I can still do what I've always done. And, you know, it helped her to cross that divide because Eloise and Colin both have that issue where they're angry, and then they're not angry anymore, but they don't know how to cross that divide into repair. And the repair just happened naturally for her.
I was just reading a script for the next portion. If you're done, I'll wait till we get to that part.
Oh no, I'm good. I'm done.
Okay, so we move on to Benedict, Tilly, and Grossness. Paul.
That's his name.
And so basically, Benedict comes on and he's like, oh, it's nice to see you both. I've been thinking about your offer. And he goes, and, well, both panting. Music intensifies. Breathing deeply. Music peaks and fades. Rats squeaking.
Wow. Well, the rat squeaking is when Cressida enters.
The rat squeaking is Paul.
That's so funny, though. But
I know it's a different theme, but it was just the fact that it was all together.
I think it's imagery because that rat does happen right after that. But yeah, like, Benedict runs, and here's what I find funny. He leaves a wedding breakfast in the middle of the day. He's at Tilly's house, and it's evening. This is now evening when they come in. You can tell by the lighting that this is late afternoon, evening.
Yeah.
And they're just like kind of not surprised he's there, which fed my theory of like it's
I'm like,
roomy.
he left this wedding breakfast and it was, let's say, between midday and 2 p.m., right? How
Mm-hmm.
did it go from midday 2 p.m. all the way to, like, did he go home and pre-douche? Like, what could have possibly taken him so long
Wouldn't
to
have
prepare?
known he has to prepare things like that yet.
But you know what I'm saying though? Like, what kind of prep did you need to do, grooming and prep, Mr. Bridgerton, that has taken you that many hours?
Well,
That
that's
you
the
had to
thing. I
leave the
took it
wedding
as
breakfast right then.
he went home and got rid of the wedding clothes and put on his regular clothes, and I didn't pay much attention. Maybe he's still in the wedding clothes because I really struggled with this scene,
It was just one of those
and
continuity errors.
and not for the queer part of it, because but for I just don't like Paul.
It's
And
just so many of the sexy moments. I feel like they make it so it has to be at nighttime because nighttime is sexy, and people don't have
yeah,
sex during the day unless it's in a carriage.
right. But I took it as he rushed there and he'd been waiting for them all day. That's the vibe it gave me. And then, like, she seems a little surprised he's there, but Paul is not surprised at all. Mr. Bridgerton. And don't you dare call him Mr. Bridgerton or whatever when Penn says it. And that's our whole thing with Penn saying it to Colin. And now, Paul's
Romancing
addressing
Mr.
him
Bridgerton.
like gross.
Gross.
But I do like the sequence of how this goes, because just imagining what Benedict's feeling here, like he's about to cross over into something where there's no going back, right? It's kind of like feeling like he's gonna step off a cliff and he doesn't know what's there. But he chooses, when he walks up, he kisses her first,
Mm-hmm.
and then when he turns to him and he knows, like, it's now or never, this is the moment. He he leans in to kiss him. Paul goes the last little bit, and it's like a soft kiss at first, and then he realizes, I think, because kissing's kissing, it's just lips and tongues or whatever. I mean, neither one of them have any real facial hair. It wouldn't be all that different. But I think he realized, oh, this is pretty nice, and he comes in with more passion. But I like how they sequenced that he needed to build himself up to it. Like, it gave it the import, at least for
Yeah,
Benedict's character,
I
that
felt
it
ripped off in
needed.
the scene because it could have been something beautiful. Like Benedict's entire arc could have been something beautiful if they didn't make Paul so schmummy.
Yes. And I don't know, maybe they didn't feel like they chose an actor who came off smarmy. Maybe the guy who played Paul didn't realize he was coming off smarmy, but he was. And that completely changed the vibe for me. But I did like the sequencing here, the direction. Kiss her first. That's the familiar. That's him letting her know there's still an us, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he pauses, like there's this definite pause before he takes that leap to kissing Paul, because again, like I said, that's a big decision for someone to make, and to decide to try that if they're unsure, and he's been unsure this whole time. So I really like the sequencing of it, the direction of it, and kind of I I don't know if I like that it's in the foyer per se, because anybody could walk in their house that, Lady Tilly, you dropped this in the street or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's exactly, but I understand, that's they had that location
Yeah.
specifically for that room. So I get that. But they could have moved more into the room than being in the doorway. But I think the doorway's probably like a metaphor, like he's stepping through a doorway into a new adventure kind of thing.
Yes, and speaking of stepping into new adventures, Cressida is in the dankiest, dirtiest part of town. Evening, ma'am. Are you in need of directions? No, I am here for my payment for the Whistledown that was printed here last week. Like, I mean, good on her for trying something, because she's like, if I just act as if I belong here, like, it's very clear that she does not belong there. And at least when Penelope does it, she at least puts on a whole accent, changes her clothes, makes herself seem like a lady's maid, like to fit
Mm-hmm.
being in that part of town, whereas Cressida sticks out like a sore thumb. Yeah.
Well, and I just want to point out here, because I was going to talk about it in another part and kind of didn't. First of all, we know she got the maid to help her. She asked the maid if she would help her, and she agreed. She is in a carriage. So she either took her parents' carriage or she hired a hack. So she's already had some money, maybe some of her pin money or something from somewhere. But she is seeking out, and you get the idea from the scripting that she is just going from printer to printer to printer finding this money. Mm-hmm. Yet she's not finding it. And she says there's only, 3 or 4 more printers to check? Like, she's been to so many printers and there's only a few left, yet she hasn't found this money. Her parents already picked up the money. Her mother wrote this Whistledown, basically threw her under the bus. They locked her in a tower. They're going to ship her off to Aunt Joanna. And they're going to have her take the fall in society. And then her dad, because, the mother is not, or even if her mom went and got the money herself, if Cowper didn't know that they actually wrote it, that's still, like, literally shittiest parent award, aside from slavery.
Yeah.
Like, they are hypocrites. They're terrible parents. She's out there trying to find this money, and it's already gone. Her parents have already picked it up. They're using it for their own stuff. They're not using it to help her at all. They're not trying to add it to a dowry to get her married off. They just left her high and dry. They took this money and were using it for themselves. Because, I mean, think about how much Whistledown makes now.
I love that the printer press kid, like, knows immediately. You are not her, though, are you? And she's like, oh, no, but I've always wanted to meet her. Now, this is the part that I find stupid because, I mean, my boss at the last place that I worked used to print for her, said that she was a redhead, though. Whereas I don't know whether the printer knew that it was actually Lady Whistledown that he was dealing with, especially for the fact that for a lot of the time she was going through Genevieve at the last portion. Genevieve was the one delivering all of those. So
I think he figured it out because it was her, and then it wasn't her for so long, and then she shows up in the middle of the night with a rush order, and he went out on a limb and said anything for Lady Whistledown, and she didn't deny it. So I think he decided it was her. I mean, he was right.
Yeah,
but I think he figured it out, and he kind of talked about it, and that's what gave I mean, they had to easily give Cressida the out because Cressida wasn't going to figure it out.
No, she's not that intuitive. No. So, like, it was just, like, the stupidest, like, I feel like if they were going to give us, like, Lady Whistledown being outed, did it really have to be like that? It just felt like such a, if the Queen had come knocking and offered the printer presses money, which I'm sure she would have, like, they would have caved long ago.
Oh, yeah, the Queen had, I forget what they were called back then.
Something street runners.
Yeah, the Bow Street Runners. She had them going to the printers and strong-arming the printers then. Like, this apprentice kid's just going to give it up to some hoity-toity? I don't think so. Right?
No.
But they had to get the information, and that's what I'm saying with the writing. And if they would have just done 10 more minutes per episode, they could have fleshed this out. And I think they figured it out with season 4. Like, I'm going to give Jess Brownell some credit here with season 3 being her first season. I think there was some transition going on at Netflix from not being able to use AI as much because of the Writers Guild strike and the agreement that came out of that. So I think there was a lot going on, but she learned a lot and she implemented it in season 4. But now we're lamenting her not having that knowledge for season 3. It's kind of like, your parents raised you with the information they had at the time. They did the best with what they had. But now that you're a parent and you have all this new information, you can go, man, I wish my parents would have known that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's kind of the same thing. But if they would have thought this through, Cressida has made some pretty spot-on observations throughout this season in moments of clarity that I think,
she's not completely dense, but yeah.
could have been a line, just like in the book, where she says, it would break my heart if this happened. Or another line where she would have been like, you get what I'm saying? Like, she would know it was penned from something that she wrote.
Yeah. All right, everybody. That is a wrap on episode 7, which that's probably our longest rundown of an episode yet. So rest assured, season 3 is not ending anytime soon.
Savor the good. We were savoring the good and stretching it out.
Yeah, about what's going to happen to Benedict too. For today, gentle listeners, we will leave it there and continue on next week's episode. If you have any tangents you would like to share, please find the Ladies Bridgerton on Facebook and YouTube. Enjoying the podcast, please click like, subscribe, and follow wherever you listen.
And once again, thank you for listening to the musings of 2 mad women.
Yours truly, Tash the Kiwi.
Lady Patty.